didn't know this, we got a couple people up here with cameras. We're actually doing a live video. And there's a guy right here, so make sure you guys don't hit his camera.
Make sure you hit him as hard as you can.